On this episode of Supercars Talk, I'm going to tell you who will win the Bathurst 1000 this year. Hopefully you saw yesterday's episode with the back half of the field. Anyway, this is the top half of the field covered. These are pretty much the guys who are in with the best shot of winning the race, other than Nick Percat and Wood, as I did cover yesterday. So you've probably seen yesterday, so you've heard me do a bit of an intro, so straight into it. Erebus Motorsport. At the start of the year, I wouldn't have put them as one of the favourites, but after Sydney, if they can carry that momentum, they will be looking very good, and both cars are going to shake it up a bit. I think the pick will be the Will Brown and Jack Perkins car. Jack, he's not going to run with a Garth Tander, but he will, really keep the car in the window there. He is a safe pair of hands. Will Brown's pace over the last few rounds has been outstanding. If they can continue that, they will definitely be in with a shot. The sister car of Brody Kostecki and Dave Russell, that's going to be the issue. Even at the start of the year, I thought Dave Russell was a bit of an odd choice. Now even more so, because that car is looking really competitive. I don't think it's going to be able to run with the front guys all day, and you'll probably be seeing Brody having to fight back a bit in his stints, which will definitely hamper that car's progress. So, it's hard, but these guys they're playing against some really, really good teams. So if I had to pick one of the Erebus cars, it would definitely be the Will Brown, Jack Perkins car to, battle it out for the front. They'll be pretty much up the front all day, I'd imagine. Walkinshaw, Andretti United. Now, I'm going to say that one car is the favourite, and then magically the other car's going to end up on the podium, because every year I knock Warren Luff and say he's probably past at that, and then somehow he'll get in a unfancied Walkinshaw car and then run with the main game drivers and beat some of them in a car that the co-driver's been struggling with all year, or the lead driver, he's the co-driver. So anyway, Bryce Fullwood and Warren Luff are in the second car. Realistically, everything says that these guys are not going to be contenders, and as I said, somehow Warren will end up on the podium. So I'm sick of trying to predict that one. Definitely though, Chaz Mostert, Lee Holdsworth, they are in with a shot. Lee is one of the pick of the bunch of co-drivers. He's going to be able to run pretty much with your Tanders and Lounsers. And Chaz has shown this year with a couple of wins that, he's really, that's why Walkinshaw are paying him the big bucks. They're going to be front runners. I will be surprised if they're not on the podium, at least within, in that podium kind of realm, because it is, I think it's going to be definitely a close one, even if it runs without safety cars, which is, because of the quality of the field, there's a good chance it's going to run a long way through the race, even without an entertainment car. So they've definitely, they're probably the first one. Nick and Dale Wood, they've got a good chance of running. These guys, they will definitely be able to run at that full-on pace all day if need be. Tickford Racing featuring Blanchard Racing. So we'll start off with the Blanchards. Tim Slade and Tim Blanchard, if the pace that they were showing at Bathurst earlier on in the year is back, they could be in with a really good shot. Can Tim run with the big guys? That's probably the big question with this. Tim Slade definitely can. I should be clearer which Tim I'm talking about, with Tim and Tim there. I think Blanchard's going to be the big, kind of handbrake on this one. As for the Tickford cars, we have got Jack LeBrock and Zach best, this will be Zach's debut, the only debutant at Bathurst this year. They're not really in it. Jack was a bit more speedy at Sydney Motorsport Park. It seems his car's got some upgrades and he can be a bit more competitive. But yeah. James Courtney and Thomas Randall. This will be an interesting one because this could be probably, I think, the only combo in the field where the co-driver could, in theory, outpace the main driver. James was looking a little bit lost at Sydney. Definitely, most of the time was the worst looking of the Tickford cars. And Tom Randall he's definitely impressed with his wildcard drives during the year. And yeah, I mean, he's knocking on the door. He's going to be a main driver next year. That's the only reason. I don't think he was partnered with Cam Waters this year because obviously they're trying to, set up a bit of continuity there, I imagine, for Cam Waters and James Moffat, so that, James will be there long-term with Cam Waters, and that's probably the only reason that we didn't see Thomas get that shot, in the lead kind of Tickford car. Definitely Cam Waters and James Moffat, they can run up the front all day. I think if they're not on the podium, they will definitely be in that kind of podium hunt. I think they'll be fighting it out with the lead Walkinshaw car, with Chaz Mostert for that podium position. They're definitely in the top 5 cars in the field. Dick Johnson Racing. Now, this one, they're probably going to be on pole. And the way Anton's going, I think he's going to, be the fastest out of the gates. He's going to put it on pole in the top 10 shootout. Then can Tony D'Alberto run with Garth Tander all day? Probably not. So that's going to be the big thing there. And Alex and Will Davison. Alex did a stellar job last year. The late call-up with Techno Team Sydney and that, I figured he'd be nowhere, and he actually, he ran quite competitively most of the year. He's a steady pair of hands. He's got a real weird stat where I think he has finished every Bathurst he has started, and it's not like he's only started 1 or 2. I think this will be it. Actually, this is going to be his 17th start in car 17, and so he probably won't finish this one because of all those stars aligning with the 17s. But he's definitely a safe pair of hands. These guys, I think they'll be the lead Dick Johnson car at the end of the day. They're going to be in that podium hunt. I don't think they're going to have the pace. If they have to go against, Shane and Garth Tander all day, I don't think they can run at that top pace, but they're going to be just off. They're going to be battling, I think, Waters and Mostert for, the podium. And last but definitely not least, Triple Eight. So we'll start off with the wild card, Brock Feeney and Russell Ingall. If the safety cars fall in the right positions, Brock could, debut win this thing. Also, if it is flat out all day, no safety cars, I think Russell's going to be off the pace enough that this car, it's just going to be a pure, Brock, he'll probably qualify this thing in the top 10. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't qualify it in the top 10, to be honest. And then you'll probably see, in Russell's stint, it'll probably go back a little bit, and then Brock will have to bring it back. And then Russell will drop back. And then Brock will have to bring it back. Considering it's probably going to be warmer there because it's in a warm part of the year, you might not be, and also Brock's experience, you probably don't want to see him doing a triple stint at the end of the race. So they're probably going to have to play all those cards in. If all of Russell's laps are done and Brock gets in the car and there's a safety car and they're kind of in the top 10, they could well be in, a top 5 position with this car. But also having said that, if it is flat out all day, if they're anywhere like in the top 15, that'll be a really good result. Now for probably the top 2. This will be Jamie Whincup's last full-time race. Probably going to see him do some co-driving next year, but this is the final one, full-time driver. How's he going to bugger it up? They've got the potential. Him and Craig Lowndes. Craig pulls something special out of Bathurst every year. They can run with the lead car, no problem, all day. They'll be flat out. The biggest thing will be, with these two, will be double stacking in the pits if there is a safety car. I can't see there being a lot of safety cars, but this is definitely, they are going to have to. They'll be fighting it hard from early on to be the lead car in the team. And just a little thing on the Brock Feeney, Russell Ingall, they've got their own pit boom, so they don't have to worry about any double stacking or anything. That could play a major advantage if Russell has lost some positions. There is a safety car and Brock comes in. All of a sudden, he can overtake all of the double stacking cars, depending where they are in the field. But yeah, the 2 main Triple Eight cars, double stacking is going to be their issue if there is a safety car period. So that's going to be the fight. Obviously, my favourite for the race is going to be Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander. They won it last year. Both of them are top level drivers. I think if Craig was in the championship right now in a Triple Eight car, he'd be in the top 10. If Garth was in the championship right now in a Triple Eight car, he'd be top 5, if not, second in the championship. That's the kind of level these guys are at. They're just going to, they can bang out qualifying laps all day, no problem. They're my favourites for the win. And if Jamie finishes, they're probably more than likely going to be in second position. And Brock Feeney in third. Triple Eight could, clear out the podium. So, after all of that blabbering on, realistically, I've probably, 4 cars for the win. The 2 Triple Eight cars and Cam Waters and Chaz Mostert, with my smoky being Nick Percat, to add in a 5th. Obviously, a lot of people, for the tipping competition, you could win this mug. So there's my logo on the back there. Nice scafey there. There's 4 to choose from. I'll put the link in the description to the tipping video competition. I'm going to close entries on Thursday night. Down in the comments, do you agree with my predictions? How wrong do you think I'm going to be? Depending on work commitments this week, I plan on doing a bit of a recap video each day after practice and qualifying and top 10 and that. But I will see how I go, because I have been very, very, very busy with my actual day job recently. But yeah, down in the comments, let me know what you think. Bathurst week, let's, spend a lot of time on the couch watching TV. Let's all enjoy it. I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.